through the first look of the week 13, a very early first look, but we wanted to get something out there, and nice to do it early in the week so you sort of get an overall look at the slate, and then of course as things change, things will change from that. But like I keep saying on every NBA show, always remember the plays that you like to start at the beginning, because oftentimes those end up getting overlooked by the end of the week for many different reasons, and they often tend to be the still really strong.
Well, let's ask the real question. Are you playing? And if so, are you playing more than one in the 4-4-4-4?
No.
Are you not playing that?
Not playing into it. I haven't really played it. I haven't played it yet this year. I almost did a couple times, but didn't quite end up choosing to go there.
No, that's too much for me.
I'll do it if I'm on like a heater, if I win an NBA thing. I'll tell you what, if I win $1 million tomorrow, I'll definitely play it.
Yeah, if you're winning $1 million tomorrow, you better play.
I better play it, right? All right. Well, why don't we go game by game here and call up your screen? It's going to be a weird slate. We've got another one of the at first look, the guy who's going to be the massive chalk that may not end up being, because he wasn't, even though right up to lock he was projected to be like Jonathan Taylor, and he's in the exact same situation he was last week. Another impossible running situation, and maybe he can squeeze out a few more touchdowns again, but even he was not a guy you wanted to end up having by the end of the week last week. So,
but he was fine. He had 20, right?
Yeah, he was fine, but he got 20 because he had 2 touchdowns. He had literally did nothing on the ground. They just happened to be tackled at the one twice. All right, so let's get into it. Why don't you start the first game? Again, my door keeps going. If you started off the LAC New England game, I'll pick it up in just a second. I'm just going to answer the door really quick.
Yeah, in this first game, the only thing I'm really getting is the New England defense as being currently the top projected defense on the board. At 2,400, early ownership, again, this is like really super duper early, but have them over 10%, which is pretty big for a defense this early in the week. And the chart given no indication that you should do anything but play defenses against them, quite honestly, except for that 1 week where Bobby called it. They had the shootout against Detroit, but they've been struggling. And aside from that, I'd have to scroll really far down to get to anything from this game. I mean, I guess Ramondre Stevenson would be, I guess he's reasonable. It's so funny you have to scroll down so far to get to running backs nowadays. But I would have, actually, that's just true. So I have Ramondre Stevenson as 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe 5th or 6th best point per dollar running back on the slate. So I guess that's not bad. I would think I'd want to get to Keenan Allen only because you have 857 targets. I couldn't quite stop counting after a while. So yeah, I actually do have him. So 9K is tough against New England, especially, listen, I don't know if this is still the case, but they used to tell me that Belichick would try to take away the Chargers' best player. And since apparently there is no good player on the team right now, except for him, they would try to take away Keenan Allen. So it's tough. Probably going to stay away from most of this game, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this game, because are the Patriots officially in tank mode? It feels like it, and it makes sense for them to be. It feels like if Mac Jones starts again, that they're definitely in tank mode. I still like Keenan Allen, and I like Eckler. I don't think that the Patriots have the ability. They haven't shown the ability to stop the other team's best player really at all in years now. So I'm not
right
credit to that anymore. Although literally, when we were playing DFS a couple years ago, I literally just would X out any of the best players playing the Patriots. Now it's not like that at all. Ramondre is going to look good. Demario Douglas is probably my favorite play. But I don't love anything here. Douglas or Stevenson, I think are totally fine. Probably kind of interesting. They were in a lot for Devontae Parker early in the last game and kind of stopped, but just throwing it out there as a fringy play. Devontae Parker and Jalen Guyton are 2 guys you can consider for spend downs as very, very thin value plays. But Eckler has not been great lately, but also has had some really tough matchups and game scripts. So I think we're going to see a better performance against the New England team that just doesn't really have much to hang their hat on. All right. Detroit, New Orleans. Go ahead, Sheets.
Yeah, so I have Detroit as one of. I see. I have two teams kind of at the top tier as far as stacks go, and then I have this kind of like second tier, and Detroit is in the second tier. So I do like the Detroit stack. The usual guys, Jameson Williams, Amon St. Brown. You can play Goff. Yeah, listen, Goff had a freaking miserable Thanksgiving. But listen, they're off 10 days now. Maybe get right spots, just get their act together again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in a dome, and I definitely like them. I have actually Amon St. Brown as the top overall wide receiver play. Yeah, I mean, so I like that. Running it back, I guess we have to make sure that Olave's healthy. I mean, I think he came out of the game with a concussion, but I guess I like him. And yeah, this is one of my top 6 games. Put it that way. I mean, top 6 spots.
Yeah, I'll bite on this spot as well. Like I think this is a good one to attack. I can't get to the Derek Carr thing ever, just because you get Taysom Hill and all kinds of other stuff when you get down close. But I sort of don't mind getting pieces of every part of this. Kamara at lower priority because he's expensive. I do love the St. Brown on the Detroit side, but I'm a little concerned that the matchup's not as good as maybe people think. So I don't have him much. I have Keenan Allen very close to St. Brown. And then on the rest of the pieces, look, I'll take another. I'll keep stabbing at Jameson Williams and even use a little bit of Josh Reynolds, just because if I'm going to make a stack, I think those guys kind of make some sense to try and round it out. I also think Laporta, just as a regular tight end, is a reasonable option, even though it's not an ideal matchup for tight ends. Olave, assuming he plays, kind of frustrating. A lot. That's partly what happened to me. Shaheed got hurt last week. Also dropped 2 balls in the end zone. That really hurt my lineups. I certainly would have been profitable if he catches one of those balls. And then Olave gets hurt also. He had a big game, but he still got hurt. And then you've got A.T. Perry, who everybody was the trendy. Everyone talked him up last week, and I don't know if he even ended up with anything. And then you get into the weird Taysom Hill play. I think that I'm inclined to go right back to the weird Taysom Hill play. He's a little expensive. It's not ideal, but overall, this is a first look, one of the games that I definitely want to target. Detroit's defense in domes has not been able to stop anybody, or domes or virtual domes, sort of like when they were in an LAC, for example. They've really had struggled with their defense lately, even though they've got some good pieces back there. They're just a very hit and miss defense. I think you could throw the ball on them. So I'm into pretty much everything in this game as of right now. It's one of my favorites. Atlanta, New York.
Yeah, so this one's weird because I think that the Jets continuing to start Tim Boyle, is probably going to save me some money, because I happen to think Zach Wilson's not bad. And I would.
Whoa. Hold up. We have to revisit this. That's the first time I've heard that statement made in months. What's the deal? What's the deal with that, Cheech? You like Zach Wilson?
Yeah, I actually do. I think he could throw the ball better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league, and
a talent level, yeah.
Yeah, well, what can I tell you?
Yeah.
I think Tim Boyle has just literally just has nothing right now. And it's a shame, because I would take a shot at this with the Jets. Atlanta's not that great. And I could play Breece Hall, and I could play Garrett Wilson. And I really hope that I talk myself off of this, because I actually might play Tim Boyle anyway. I mean, he's like $2. And they were in an impossible spot against Miami last week. And I don't know. Listen, it's a 10-game slate. I'm gonna try this. Certainly Breece Hall. I mean, I think Breece Hall is it's pretty stupid to say. Like on a Tuesday in NFL, I think Breece Hall is like almost a lock here. How about that? So Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, those are the 2 best players on the team. Tim Boyle at 4,800. I don't know what that gets me. I haven't really looked at the spend ups too much. It will get me other guys maybe. But I don't know. was about to say I probably made worse plays, but I don't know. Maybe I haven't. Maybe this is going to be my worst play, and maybe I'm going to be happy that it's Tuesday and not Sunday. But I don't know. That's where I am at this very, very early juncture. And then on the other side of this, I mean, you could play Drake London, I suppose, but listen, the Jets are stingy, man. The Jets are stingy. And I have to see what the rest of these games look like. You know, I really have to see if there's a team that I'm like, do I really want to get like $1 billion worth that San Francisco, Eagle game, for example? Like am I just gonna be chasing like a 37-31 game with real good skill guys by playing too much of this other crap? But I don't know. The good thing is it's Tuesday. No one's gonna remember I said any of this. So right now it's gonna be the Jets.
So I think Breece Hall is going to be like, I totally agree about Breece Hall being a good play. I think he's also he looks like as of right now, he's going to be one of the most popular plays in the slate. Bijan Robinson, I think, is a better play on the other side. The only problem is it's just frustrating with Atlanta. Like they're just going to run these other guys enough, and it's always irritating. I don't know what the hell. Ritter, for whatever reason, once he gets inside that other team's 20, he just automatic turnover. So yeah, Hall, Wilson, and Robinson, but really Robinson and Hall are my two priorities from this game. You looking at Xavier Gibson? Can we get Xavier Gibson going? I don't know.
Thinking about it.
One guy we should probably look at. So Tyler Conklin at 3K at tight end is definitely worth a play.
Thinking about it. I mean, Lazard was out the last game. But I will say this, that after Garrett Wilson, the next highest priced receiver on an NFL team is 3,200.
Yeah, and the tight end is 3K, and he gets all the work. So
the tight end is 3K and gets all the work. So it's a team that I'll play if I really like stuff like Jonathan. I mean, like McCaffrey. Guys that are really expensive, and we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it really doesn't, but
no.
I'm gonna stick with this build right now.
Okay, we'll see.
There it is. The Boyle, Hall, Wilson. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. All right, so let's now we got Arizona at Pittsburgh.
So I do think this game could go different ways, as most of these Pittsburgh games can. I currently do have Arizona as a good second tier stack. Murray at 7K. I don't know though. Rondell Moore 3,400. We got to see if Wilson's in. You got to go right back to Trey McBride, despite the fact that even his last two games haven't been that great. But I think he's really, really good. Good call by you on the tight end from Pittsburgh this past weekend. They just drilled him. You know what I mean? It was like the entire Pat Freiermuth show.
He opened up the whole offense. It was the first time in 20 games that they scored at 400 yards of offense.
Yeah, and it was like all him. So I guess both tight ends in this game are going to be good. I don't know what the total is in here. I'm not really getting much Pittsburgh though, except is going to get back to the Jalen Warren experience. I guess, but wasn't Harris the guy last week?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it could flip anytime, and that's what I ended up doing. Is I ended up getting a bunch of. This is like one of the few things that I did really well last week. First of all, Freiermuth ended up as my highest owned tight end on both sides. If you check on both sides, which was awesome. And he was 1% owned, 2% owned, and he was the highest scoring tight end. Also, I switched some of my Warren shares over to Najee Harris. When they were trying to run the clock out, Najee Harris went backwards 2 yards, so his 100-yard rushing bonus got taken away.
I have Jalen Warren for some reason. I mean, this is like really early. Actually one of the top point per dollar running backs. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is actually it's interesting because it's an ugly game, but like for yardage and stuff, it should be good. I like the idea of getting to some of the Pittsburgh exposure. I think my favorite play is probably Deontay Johnson on Pittsburgh. I also don't mind Pickens, and then I would go one of Warren or Harris. And I also don't mind going back to Freiermuth. I mean, it's pretty clear. Like this guy, he has good games with Pickett. They definitely look for him a ton. A lot of design plays. The first play they ran was a 20-yard bomb thing to him in the last game. So I'm back in on the Freiermuth. And I like the idea of getting to some of the receiving game. McBride will be the popular piece, but every one of the cheap receivers, including Greg Dortch, who's little Greg Dortch, and Rondale Moore, both little tiny guys who can get there. Dortch got a touchdown last week, super cheap. James Conner's only 5,800 against a team that struggled against the run this year so far. So a lot of things to like. I don't think I quite want to play the Kyler Murray stacks, but I certainly don't think it's the worst idea in the world. And I like the idea of getting this game as sort of like a secondary stack game overall. By the end of the week, please talk me out of when I try and talk myself into playing Pickett, because I'm going to try.
Oh, absolutely. I want to be talking to everything I'm talking about today, honestly.
Okay, sounds good.
So Indianapolis, Tennessee. So if Jonathan Taylor, 30% projected ownership, doesn't excite you? How about the fact that he emerged from with a thumb injury, and he could be out? And in that case, you get Moss at 4,600. So
no interest.
So somebody is 35% owned in this game. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's someone who is the running back against a team that doesn't give up the run. So it's going to be another battleground. It's going to be the funnel versus the projection. And we'll just, I guess, see what happens, I suppose. One thing I will say is that I do continue to like the Indianapolis passing game. It certainly makes a lot of sense, both from a no ball perspective and just an overall pace perspective. I think Indianapolis does like to pass the ball. I mean, they do. They like to turn Minshew loose. They like to go tempo. And between Pittman and Downs, I think that's probably a pretty good a good stack there. So regardless of how you deal with Indianapolis, I think you're going to have Indianapolis, either the running backs or the receivers or both, or you know what I mean? I think something is going to come from this game on the Indianapolis. And that's I'm not getting I currently don't have anything from Tennessee. I'm looking at the the Derrick Henry. I don't know what his price is this week. He's not showing up as that great of a play right now. He got steamed pretty hard at the end of last week, and he and Jonathan Taylor both got the benefit of the 2 touchdown experience.
But he got a ton of work too in that game.
He did. He definitely did.
They were pounding him.
He definitely did. And it is officially going to be December on.
Yeah, it'll officially be. That's right.
Officially December. So, but Indianapolis would be the they're one of those second tier type teams for me.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe they could be a first tier team here, because I think so. Minshew, I always like Minshew, but you put him against a situation that they're gonna, in my opinion, they're gonna have trouble running the ball. It's the biggest pass funnel team there is. Downs and Pittman, I'm in. They're both gonna have some ownership. I'm good with it. I'll go right back to them like I did last week, and I'll run it back with either Hopkins or Henry. Pretty straightforward. And I actually don't mind the Minshew stack. Like, I think this is actually a reasonable game to maybe take some shots with. It also wouldn't. But we know the Colts games tend to get out of hand. Like in general, they're not always, but usually they do. Last week was weird because they kept picking off, the receivers kept fumbling the ball and all that stuff for Tampa Bay. But I think this could be one of those get out of hand games. And remember, Mike Evans also dropped 2 touchdown passes that he could have caught, and he still had a monster game. Why can't we get the same kind of thing out of DeAndre Hopkins here, who they seem to love? So I think this actually makes for a sneaky little game stack. I'm kind of into it.
Miami, Washington. I think my projections are just wrong. Because I'm barely getting much of anything from either side of this game, and
pricing.
That's I guess, but what's the total here? Like 100?
It's a big one. It's this is the only total I think that's even close to 50. Let me just double check.
Miami.
Well,
you know what? I answered my question then. Like what I'm going to do with playing Boyle and you know what I mean. And the Jets, or Boyle specifically, is play like what's Tyreek Hill for 12K or something, 9,600. I'll tell you something. It is a little bit bit stressful every time you play him when he takes himself out of the game for a couple of snaps. He always looks like he's hurt and like going to be out the rest of the game, but then he ends up coming back in there. 9,600 is definitely a lot. But I will say, listen, right again. I'm gonna put this out there right now that I won't say the most popular player on the slate, because it can't be, because he's a wide receiver 3. But Cedric Wilson at 3K is kind of ridiculous. my initial lean is to play him.
Officially Barrios is back, so he's their fourth receiver. He didn't catch any passes last week. I think he only played like 5 snaps.
Yeah, so Cedric Wilson I really like at 3K, and Terry McLaurin at 5,500 in this game script. I mean, it's been boy oh boy. Curtis Samuel with 400 targets at 4,100. He's got to be really popular, no? I mean, how is he not? I mean, like all three of these guys. I mean, McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel, Sam Howell. My projections are completely miserable for this. I think this is going to be the most obvious team actually is Washington, and I guess that's all I have. I mean, is Achane back for Miami?
I think he's officially still questionable, but probably leaning towards unlikely.
Mostert 7,300. I don't know about this. So I guess the Washington guys are my favorite plays so far.
Yeah, give me this whole game and just give me. I'll take a skinny to a stack if I have to. I don't think Cedric Wilson's even in play personally. I think if you played anybody for like, there's so many other guys at 3K that actually play snaps. Cedric Wilson may not end up getting on the field. They love River Craycraft, and they were playing really well with him early in the season. He's back as well. I know he's been available, but like I'm just saying, like I just can't quite get. I like the idea of getting the cheap guy in this game, but we've got Curtis Samuel on the other side at 4K. He just caught 10 passes last week. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think that's maybe the right thing to do. I actually had Samuel as my number one. I don't care that he doesn't project well. I honestly am confused by why he doesn't.
How does he not project well? This is ridiculous, right? I mean,
maybe because they're getting Pringle more involved and De'Ami Brown. I don't know.
More involved than what? The guy literally was targeted every time the guy went back to pass.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So I'm there. This is my number one game stack of the week. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit weird because you can't really play Tua and Waddle. And I mean, I don't even think if value opens up, it's going to be really hard to play Tua and Waddle and Tyreek. So I think you have to just pick one. Obviously, Tyreek is going to be the popular one, but he's not going to be that popular because he's just too expensive. Nobody's going to play Brian Robinson on the other side. I probably won't either, but because I have exposure to the game, maybe I'll throw him in a little bit. I love Samuel, love McLaurin. Don't mind at all taking Jahan Dotson if you don't want to take those guys. I think Logan Thomas might be the best play at tight end this week. And then you have the natural guys for Miami. So this is definitely the game you want to target, in my opinion. And separate from just my Tua stacks, I'll be all over the Sam Howell stacks. That's the easiest one because you've got multiple receivers you can play them with. You've got different ways you could do it. You could triple stack, you could double stack, run it back.
You could play them all. Look at this build right here. I mean, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's probably not even including. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And then look, you put Mostert up in the running back spot. You've got enough to spend for a nice tight end. That's the kind of build that I'm going to end up with this week. Because I love this game, and I'm going to be all over both sides of it. My first build was with Tua, and I really, really want heavy exposure. Unfortunately, it's going to be raining, and there's potential weather concerns. It doesn't really bother me that much. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and 49.5 total, the biggest one on the slate. I think that we want to get some exposure here. All right, what do you got next?
Well, you have Houston. I mean, and when are people gonna learn? I guess I don't know. I currently actually don't have Houston rating all that high though, and again, probably just because of price. They finally priced these guys up, but I mean, is Tank Dell at 7,400 too expensive? I mean, is Nico Collins 6,800 too expensive? Is CJ Stroud, for that matter, at 8,100 too expensive? On the other side of this, I'll tell you, Courtland Sutton's a pretty good receiver.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy's cheap at 4,700. Denver's, I cannot believe that this team won like 5 in a row, whatever they've done. It's just amazing. Like since that game against Miami.
Yep.
I mean,
they've been awesome.
And I'll tell you, this game can deliver. I think it can. So this is this going to be the sneaky, non-sneaky game of the week? Probably. I'm just guessing, but you know who you want to play on Houston. You know you want to play on Denver. Not exactly the cheapest. Javonte Williams even at 5,700. Dude, you know who got a lot of work was Perrine.
Yeah, some of it we have to just take with a grain, though. Like, and just
it seemed as though he got a lot of work, but he didn't. This is so weird.
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Is you see these little plays, and then he happens to get in the end zone, and it's really not like this other guy was bragging about playing P. Ryan last week. I'm like, that's just an idiotic play.
Yeah, he only got 7 carries. I thought that he was so much
and
more.
One catch.
And 1 target. All right, forget that.
Yeah, Javonte Williams is the play, if there's a play, I think.
I got to tell you, though, like.
Showdown stuff is where we use P. Ryan. We don't use him for
no, but I have to tell you, like, I'm looking at this Denver-Houston game, too, and I'm seeing at the prices of these guys. How is Curtis Samuel not 50% owned? I've been looking at this. I'm going back to Curtis Samuel again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand it either. All right, so this is my second favorite game of the week, just barely ahead of Detroit and New Orleans, and it's strictly look the Chiefs. This is what happens. They raise the prices. They make it all uncomfortable. We've had the most chalky team every week has been Houston because they've been too cheap. Now we finally get to play them, and they're at home again. We get to play them at low ownership finally. And you've got Dalton Schultz, who's been literally 20% every week and everything. And you've got all the receivers who've been 30%. Now you get to play them cheap. And Denver's defense has been much better, just for what it's worth. But I'm good on this one. I'll take some shots. Sutton's 5,400. That's very, very cheap. Judy has been pretty bad, but I would take a shot with Judy in this one. And then I like the natural way would be Javonte Williams with the Stroud stack. And I like Javonte Williams quite a bit. So I'm gonna put this as my number 2 game of the week. Just because we're getting all these same plays that we liked. And the truth is, yes, they're more expensive. Yes, it's a little, but it's not to the level of like, if a guy's 800 more or 1,000 more than he was last week, and his ownership drops, by whatever, from 35% to 10 or 9, he's still probably a pretty good play. What I would warn everybody about a little bit is, and it's Denver's pass defense is actually a little bit better than people think. I know it sounds weird to say because they give 70 points in the game, but they've been good since. And even in that game, they gave up 8 rushing touchdowns. So it wasn't like it was all being beaten through the air. That's the only fear I have, but I really like that game. That game with the Miami-Washington feels like a good place to start.
It's the same thing. I mean, look at this. You play both Houston guys. You play Sutton, Javonte Williams. You take the lock, 70% owned Curtis Samuel at 4,100.
Yeah,
and then you're in good shape.
I love it. All right, moving on. What do you got for Carolina, Tampa Bay?
So this is a pretty gruesome game, I think.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, that usually when teams fire the coach, they come out much more aggressive and they play better. Mm-hmm. So Carolina, by that, should come out a little more aggressive and should play better. And if you want to play something like Chubba Hubbard, it's rough against Tampa's, against the Tampa run defense, but he'll take stuff out of the backfield, I guess. I'm just trying to be whatever. Thielen he's back to 6,600. Mingo 3,300. What about Tampa and the resurgence of freaking Mike Evans? I mean, what the hell? I mean, he's just been insane. It just feels like this is not going to be one of the top games. But I do have Tampa listed as, I don't know, 6th or 7th-ish. I don't know. I think it would have to be a 20-game slate. You know what I mean? Not a 20-game slate, like a lower slate for me to play this game.
Yeah, I can't get to this game as any sort of a stack. I think Rachaad White will be, for good reason, one of the most popular plays in the slate. It's the worst run defense in football. Especially they've been bad on the road. So what I like in this game is very simple. I like Adam Thielen on one side, and I like Rachaad White on the other side. And I think they're both going to be popular in an ugly game, but you have the pass funnel defense of Tampa Bay, and you've got the can't stop the run Carolina. So those seem like a very natural pairing to me. And if you wanted to get frisky, I think that playing, instead of maybe your Wilson thing, maybe take a shot with Mingo or Chark. It's worth noting that Bryce Young is this cheap against the pass funnel defense. I know he's been terrible, but he's 4,900. Just throwing it out there. I don't think I'm going to do anything with it, but I just wanted to point it out early in the week that that's something that people might end up actually considering. All right, San Fran and Philly. Great real-life game.
Great game.
The disrespect.
And I have Philly as one of the top teams. I have Hurts and Smith, who finally not finally he showed out nicely last week, and AJ Brown. And I know San Francisco's defense or whatever, but I don't know these games. I mean, I think this game can deliver here. I'd love to get to some San Francisco. Just as usual, it's just kind of tough to know. I guess it's not tough to know that Christian McCaffrey is going to be involved. I mean, they're all going to be involved, right? So it's just a question of who gets it. But I do like Hurts. I do like AJ Brown. I do like Devontae Smith. I do not like DeAndre Swift from the Philly side. And Jalen Hurts. I mean, the ball gets down to the 1 yard line. He gets an automatic touchdown. And if you have a good score after 1 o'clock, I would not count it yet. So I think this is Philly's a really, really good side to attack here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that stands out to me about this, and I was into the Buffalo last week. I kind of feel like I got cheated a little bit in that one, but I did like Buffalo to win and Buffalo to, I really was in on Buffalo to win, Buffalo plus the points, the game with the over, which was the only part that I got right. But I don't care, like, if it's the setup and, it's because they just came off 2 emotional victory, whatever the hell it is. The Eagles being 3-point underdogs at home, while they're clearly they've been the best team in football. It's just kind of, I don't know what to say about it. It's a little shocking. I understand the Niners are good. I understand it's a revenge game for the Niners. I'm big on revenge games, from last year in the NFC title game. I don't know if I can hold back from betting $1,000 on Philadelphia. At least.
Listen, Bobby. As you know, I mean, like I am fully into the idea that the NFL is an impossible thing to beat against the spread. I think it's a very, very, very liquid, and to claim that you know more about the spread than the whole public is whatever. One thing I also know over the last 100 years I've been alive in betting sports is that when the public is all over one side, it's always better to take the other one. Mm-hmm. And you get a 3-point line move in an NFL game, especially with teams that people know, that is a swamping of public support.
Yeah.
This game came out at Pick'em on Sunday.
Yeah.
And my friend Jack, he says, I don't know, I'm just going to be a sucker here and take San Francisco. You know what I mean? At Pick'em. And even David Baker came out on Twitter and says, well, you always better take San Francisco now because it's going to get steamed, because it's going to be ultra public play.
Yep.
Because Philadelphia's coming off the whatever. And this went from 0 to 3. I mean, this is I might actually bet on an NFL game myself. I might try Philly myself.
Yeah.
As well. And I might really bet a lot, maybe 100 on it. So I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah. That's the thing that stood out the most to me about this game. It's hard for me from a DFS perspective because nothing is like a good spot for anybody on Philly, particularly. And on the other side, I like McCaffrey, but he'll be really popular. His price got too low. And
what is he, under 8K?
He's not. No, he's 9K, but he's been like 98. And the truth is, though, you kind of want the passing game against the Bills if you wanted anything. I think that. Again, I have this as a potential stack game, and I don't have anybody that I particularly like in this game. So I don't know what I'm going to do other than McCaffrey. I do think that you can make an argument instead of you could always play Purdy with McCaffrey, but I think maybe playing Purdy to Deebo Samuel is not a bad little 2-man combination that I can talk myself into. But yeah, that's an interesting. It's pretty weird to see. It's wild to see. Anyway. We close it out with Cleveland at my Rams.
Okay, do not shoot the messenger. And this will change, but just to pump the site a little bit. One of the things I put on the website are my stack rankings, and I ranked them by raw points, by point per dollar points, and also by modified, which is kind of like a blend them all. And my top overall stack is the Los Angeles Rams against the vaunted Cleveland Brown defense. So that is just that is what it is. Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Nakua. I am going to find it difficult to not continue to support the idea of Kyren Williams, but that's currently where I am. Just to play. Kupp is only 7,800. that's got to be a good price. And I know Cleveland's rough, but I don't know what to tell you. That's where I am right now.
Well, okay, a couple things about this one. It was interesting to see. It was nice, as a Rams guy, like we always knew Stafford liked Higbee, and Higbee had the 2 touchdown catches last week, had 20 fantasy points out of nowhere. And it was nice to see again. And it was nice, Kyren went off. It was nice for everybody who rostered him. I rostered him some, not enough apparently. It's interesting that he's going to be solo owned this week. And I think that it's probably worth it just to go back. And it's kind of hard though, because a lot of this is going to depend on whether Myles Garrett plays for me. It's rare that I talk about a defensive player making that much of an impact, but it's the best defensive player in football. And he makes the biggest difference for the best defense in football. So my favorite plays in this game, the problem I have with the Cup thing, I watched that game the other day and he looked hobbled. He looked like a decoy all day long. He didn't look like he was able to play. He looked like they were trying to make him able to play. They're going to try to win out. They're going to try to win their games. They're going to put their best foot forward. He's going to be out there. Doesn't mean he's healthy. If they maybe lose one more game, I don't know if you'll see him much more the rest of the year personally. Maybe 2. Anyway, Kupp and Nakua's price definitely stand out, but I think I would like the idea of maybe going to Kyren Williams or Higbee as a different option because they definitely were using Kupp as a distraction more than anything else.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I'm just going to go back to the best play. And look, if you're not playing David Njoku every week, I think there's something wrong. The guy is just getting targeted like absolute crazy. And I don't care that the results haven't been astronomical. He's still been the most consistent off-league tight end in football. And he hasn't had the big touchdown game. He hasn't had the big get over the 100 yards, but he is getting peppered with targets. He's dropping a lot of them too, by the way. But they're going to keep going right back to him. I'm gonna be on that side of things.
I like that a lot, actually. And I was wondering if I did go with the Rams stack, like where my run back would be, and it would be I guess Njoku.
Yeah, and also like Amari Cooper's questionable. Elijah Moore's already in play at 3,500. I think Elijah Moore is an interesting play already. If we still have that questionable after by the time the morning slate locks, sign me up for jumping on the Elijah Moore train like in a massive way. He had 9 targets, only completed 3 of them last week. But I will definitely get on to Elijah Moore, especially if Cooper's out. But I have no problem playing him even if Cooper plays. So for me, the priorities: number 1, Miami, Washington; number 2, Denver, Houston; number 3, Detroit, New Orleans; number 4, Indy, Tennessee. Some favorite plays: Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Trey McBride, David Njoku, McCaffrey, Thielen, Devontae Williams, and Rashad White are the guys who stood out the most in my first run through.
Yeah. So as I talk through this, I think the Jets are not happening, except for Breece Hall. Just these other games just kind of look much better. Like this Miami-Washington game is like a blow-up game. Denver-Houston will be the sneaky, non-sneaky game, but I like that. San Francisco-Philly. I mean, San Francisco-Philly doesn't have to deliver. You know what I mean? Like this could be like a different type of game. Like it could be, you know what I mean? There are 2 decent defenses, and it's also possible. Listen, this could be like a preview of something, right?
Which game are we talking about?
And if it's a preview of something or whatever, they might not, reveal their whole hand. Let's put it that way.
You're talking about San Francisco, Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Why would you?
Yeah. So I don't think I'll get to the Jets, but the Rams thing will be interesting. New Orleans, Detroit, we talked about that a little bit. New England, LAC, it's not going to happen. And this Indianapolis thing again, it's I don't know. I wish
it was in Indy. It feels
I totally wish it were in Indy.
It always feels like they go off more at home.
And I just don't know if Grable ever really gives up enough points for me to play them. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, guys. Well,
we got a fun game Thursday. Dallas, Seattle, Thursday night. Yeah,
that should be a fun one. I think that Dallas will probably keep doing their thing. Where I guess no, they can't because they're over 500, so Dallas can't win. I guess
that's really funny.
They haven't beaten anybody over 500 yet.
That's right. Is that really true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, nobody. And not only that, they got like hammered by them, except for the one game against.
I find it amazing that Seattle's over 500.
I think they're over 500. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's a lot of teams that are over 500 this year. You'd be like, what? Huh? Anyway,
do you know who was over 500 like last night? Like Minnesota.
Minnesota was over 500. I know. And then I don't know. That's crazy.
That was some game.
Yes, some painfulness to watch. Seriously. Although the DJ Moore thing worked out pretty well, but still. All right. Good luck to everybody this week. We'll see you live Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Me and Rody will have a video for you guys a little later in the week where we're fine tuning more positions.
Yeah, just some more announcements again. If you guys are watching this, every day I try to do an NHL video with just to show you guys how to play and some process stuff there. MMA is back this week after a week off, so there's going to be the normal Wednesday Thursday DFS preview followed by Friday betting preview. Then we're gonna do. I'm gonna do my the last Survivor pool thing, even though I'm out. It's a terrible, whatever. We had incredible leverage and lost with. Not only was it bad that we lost with the Lions, but everything else worked out perfectly for us. Like if the Lions had won, I mean, we would have been like in great shape. Whatever. It's very instructive. I'm going to do one more. I was going to just go on Tilt and say I'll see you next year, but I'm going to do one more wrap up podcast, Survivor, and then NBA every night. Probably going to do the live sweat tomorrow night because of the 2,500.
Yeah, I'm in for that. It's my birthday also, and I'm going to just be staying at home. So.
Oh, great! Oh, you're not going out for your birthday?
I'm celebrating on the Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't celebrate during the winning $1 million.
So it's technically your birthday tomorrow, so midnight tonight.
So midnight, what?
So it's your birthday tomorrow or today?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
So midnight tonight. You could be cashing for something. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like tomorrow, I really want the million one.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to gauge this. But it's not going to be It's not going to be your birthday where you are. Boy, this is annoying.
I know.
All right. Well, I got to figure that out. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
I got to run my sheets for that. It's like annoying. All right.
All right, buddy. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you.